We should preference. Wait. This video contains spoilers.
You guys can see my screen now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can S, A, B, C, D, E, F.
Yeah, so this is the first of our tier lists for Team Cyan. It's the first of our actual YouTube content too. But we're gonna get into it. So this one is we are rating by tiers the prominent Jedi and Sith in the Star Wars canon. We are Star Wars aficionados, all three of us. Experienced in the ways of the Force and the lore.
I'd like for you to call me Dr. Star Wars, PhD in Star Wars.
Not gonna do that, but so
Name every planet.
Coruscant.
Every planet.
all right, we don't have time for this. We'll rate planets later. So let's go ahead and get into
that'll
it.
be smart.
I've got a list of Jedi and Sith prominent from games and TV and film. So we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna do rows, and we'll just start placing them.
So
These are the best
really
of the
this-
best.
this
I thought
is
you meant Rose from The Force Awakens. I was like, what?
so Nate, seriously, this is just a list that you just came up with on characters you think are the best from the video games. And where's
No.
Cal Katarn?
No, these are just ones that we know.
I know.
Unfortunately, I don't even think he's canon anymore.
No.
Oh,
sadness.
we forgot to put Luke in there. I'll write in Luke. We'll write in Luke.
What? How did you?
I
forget?
entirely forgot Luke. Okay, I
Oh, wait,
forgot.
so we're only doing canon.
I
characters?
submitted my list of characters.
Yeah, we'll put
And
Luke
I
in.
didn't read any list that was submitted.
Well,
Nate,
all
can
right.
you draw a picture of Luke Skywalker for his?
Yeah, I'll do
stand-in?
that. I'll do that in post. So first one's right out the gate.
No.
Wait, we're only doing canon.
Yes.
Dang it, dude. Starkiller's so good. I
Well,
don't think
wait.
it was ever made a Sith.
we
was
have
it?
a. All right. Well, let's just go through this first. We got a first list of Sith and some Jedi's. First one,
Hold on,
Anakin
sorry.
Skywalker character. Where do we put him?
All right.
S tier.
I think he is
So-
S tier too.
So here's the thing. For me, I'm going off of the fact that he is the most powerful Jedi, in my opinion.
I would
At least
agree.
one of the most powerful.
He is.
Character-wise, though, if we're going with just prequel Anakin, I would say that I wouldn't put him in S for a character being
You
created.
put him in A.
I'd
B.
probably put him in like B.
Oh wait, we're going as
but-
a.
Well, no. So this is Anakin
No.
and Vader.
Anakin and Vader.
And
I
Vader?
Yes,
thought
because
we
he is
had
one
that up.
character. So I think
You're
he's
right.
S tier.
Yep.
This is
S-tier.
Annie Vader. This is because he is one person. Anakin and Vader.
He's all
Yeah,
from
but
little
he had
Annie
two
to
different
Vader.
personalities.
They are, but it is one character.
You're gonna say that guy from Split was one person?
Yes.
Well, physically he's one person, but like mentally he's 32.
But let's go. So Sidious.
Easy S tier.
Oh, dude, I think we just
think he
went
is
off
S
of Vader
tier.
too soon.
I think
I
Sidious
don't think we
is also
described
S
that at
tier.
all.
Well, I mean, like okay, Darth Vader,
Okay,
super
I
scary,
can argue
prominent
that
villain.
Darth Vader is S tier and Anakin is A tier.
But
Are we
this,
going? Wait, okay, wait.
this one
wait,
we are
wait.
qualifying as one person to keep it
Okay.
simple. And I
So wait,
think
I just
because of the
wanna-
clout of Darth Vader and the power of Anakin, make him a net S tier.
I just
Yes.
want to establish. Are we doing this off of like power?
It's
No,
whatever
just-
you want
just-
to go off of.
Just whatever we want to go
general-
off of.
That's what we're arguing, Chan.
Okay, fine. You want a hard rating? How about this then? Character design, power level, narrative story.
Okay, there you go.
How
I'm
about
writing
that?
this down for you. I'm writing this down
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. So 3 categories. We have their narrative.
Wait. File new. I'm making a new Photoshop.
Oh my
Write this
god.
down. Okay.
Okay. So, and I
This
think
video just got
Anakin.
longer, but it's gonna be more concrete, and people aren't gonna get lost.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be like, we argue for 5 minutes and then cut here. So here's where we are. We're arguing on narrative, character power, and their character design. All right. Anakin, I think, still stays at S tier, even if we have those staunch measurements. Anakin / Vader.
100% agree.
Yeah,
He's leaked to Force Lightning, but like he's pretty powerful overall.
We'll do this out of 10.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say Anakin gets so Vader alone is a 10 out of 10 character design.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Darth Vader. Like, can't argue that.
Agreed.
Narrative wise, if you take in consideration, well, not even that. Narrative wise, 10 out of 10. Good guy turned bad, turned good. Complete character arc.
Pretty good.
Power level. Anakin. I don't really know that many big
Anakin was
feats
like a
he
10
had.
out of 10, though.
I mean, so he was designed by Darth Sidious. I mean, he's one of the most powerful
And
Jedi
Darth
to
Plagueis.
exist, and Darth Plagueis. And then
Yeah,
I actually think
it's
it was
kind of said that Darth Plagueis, birthed him by the Force.
Oh yeah, he shot his
He's a Force baby.
his Force seed into Shmi Skywalker. So I think Anakin is definitely.
There we go. I think we're done with Anakin.
Anakin S tier. Darth Sidious.
All
Darth
right.
Sidious.
Character
Character
design.
design.
Okay, so I'm gonna say character design. I put him at like a 7. He is kind of basic bitch evil character.
He's just kind of okay. But here's the thing about his character. Well, here's the thing about his character design that I like.
Okay, go ahead.
So visually, I think it's kind of basic. He's just like a black robe, whatever. But you have to take into account that he's just evil for the fucking sense of being evil, which I know kind of can slip in a narrative. But like when you're designing a character, you choose you can choose different kind of villains, I would say. So it slips into both because when you're designing a character, you're also thinking about their narrative plot in the story. So some villain characters like Thanos, you're like, okay, we got to make him kind of complicated. So like
he's
not just like full blown
aesthetic
evil.
is
But
more engaging.
sometimes you like just a full blown like fucking I'm evil, and I love that.
Which is why I'm gonna put him at like a 6 or a 7 and not at like a 3. Because there are plenty of characters that are evil for evil's sake and look like that and are boring as shit.
Yeah. And also like narrative wise, as you get further into the dark side of the Force, you start getting corrupted. So like his design,
he does look fairly corrupted.
But like his design also begins to not matter because like most Sith that get that far in the dark side start looking all.
And I will say, we really do not get to see. I mean, like you see his face, but you'll see some other dark side characters throughout the canon of Star Wars, and they look a lot more villainous. Like you get to see a lot more about them because you get full body. So I'm gonna
Darth Vader with his mask off. I know
Yes.
partially that's like burns, but also he gets the gray skin and everything.
But think about Palpatine. I would consider to be like, besides Anakin and Yoda, he's probably like one of the most powerful beings.
Okay, so yes,
at his
I would
point in the
say
galaxy.
power tier. He's probably a 9 or a 10. I think he's more powerful than Anakin, or more powerful than Darth Vader, definitely.
More powerful than Darth
I
Vader,
want to
but
take
not
out, so
Anakin.
just for the note of it, I want to take out the 10 out of 10 from Darth Vader because there are.
He
I don't know the full extent of this list, but I feel like there's others that are
more powerful,
stronger than him.
Yes,
So
that
I
was
don't want to throw out a 10 out of 10 that early.
that was the issue with Anakin, was that his power, or once he became Darth Vader, because he was injured and he had to wear the suit, he was significantly weaker than he could have been as a Sith.
As a full-blown Sith. So like there's a line in Revenge of the Sith where Sidious goes, Lord Vader will become more powerful than either of us.
Yep.
When he says it to Yoda. And so like Yoda and Sidious are like two most powerful beings. And if Sidious believed that Anakin could be more powerful, I trust that Sidious would not just like fucking say that for no reason.
All right, so now let's go to Sidious's narrative. I think Sidious has a pretty strong villain narrative in terms of like the subterfuge he does. He was Emperor Palpatine for a while, where he was like, or Senator Palpatine. What is it? What position?
Well, he
did
was
hold?
senator, and then he was
Chancellor.
Chancellor.
Yeah. So I think
and,
his narrative is pretty up there. I'd say it's at least a 9 or a 10 out of 10.
just the fact that they had this long plan to instigate a war, get power, make it so that the Jedi get comfortable of having these clones with them, program the clones to turn on them in a push of a button, and then press that button. this was like a almost
Layered.
multi-generation plan,
Yeah.
because it's kind of started with Darth Plagueis, and then Sneeve just twisted it to his own desire.
Yeah, she was
But-
like, "This is
Or
my."
Sheev, yeah. I keep saying Sneeve. Sheev.
Yeah, because there's Shmi Skywalker and then there's Sheev Palpatine,
Yeah.
and then Snice Noodles.
I, for the moment, would want to put him in S tier.
I'm
That's what
gonna
I'm
put him in
going for.
tentatively in S tier. How do we feel about that?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good.
Okay.
So if we look at the numbers, we
Mhm.
gave Vader a 9 out of 10
Mm-hmm.
on character design,
Mhm.
narrative a 10 out of 10, and a power level like a 7 out of 10.
I would agree with that.
Palpatine, we gave him
Palpatine-
a
Character design is like a
Uh,
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10 character design,
Power level 10 out
uh,
of 10.
10 out of 10.
And
And
then
then narrative, we gave
what we think
I'd
like
say
a
give it a
9 or a
10
10 out
narrative.
of 10.
I'd say
I mean-
a 9.
Yeah.
Seems pretty
Could
fair.
I bump Vader's down to a 9 out of 10?
I think I'd be fine with that. I think he still stays in S tier for right now, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Darth Maul.
And there's only.
Are we good?
Ooh.
This is a complicated
Because
character.
Darth Maul is an extreme. Darth Maul has a pretty interesting past in terms of like. Before the Clone Wars, he was fucking nobody.
Right.
Like just some shmup villain. I think. Well, so let's start with character design first. I actually think he's got a pretty knockout character design, especially
It's a
considering he
very
was the
iconic
first
character
Zabrak
design.
to be shown in the series,
He
or
was the first
second.
Zabrak. He was also the first double-bladed
first.
lightsaber, which
Yeah.
is huge.
Double
And
bladed
people love
lightsabers
double-bladed
are so
lightsabers.
huge now. I'm gonna say that his character design is at least a 9 out of 10
I would agree. He still wears just the basic bitch black robes, but I think
at the start.
Design-wise.
To be fair,
Okay,
later
yeah.
on he goes with like the shirtless
does
look,
get-
the robot legs.
the robot
They
legs.
really
Okay, yeah.
crank him up. Oh, the spider legs at one point. Like they
That was
crank
cool.
him up so much in terms of character design based off of Clone Wars. I think power level
Like a 7.
You know,
7 or a
he
6.
did-
Honestly,
6.
he got
Yeah, I'd
beaten
give
by
him
a
a 6.
Padawan.
He got beaten by a Padawan, and he got just destroyed by Sidious at one point.
How did he take down Qui-Gon?
He got
Uh,
a lucky move. I
that-
think his.
Yeah, he hit him in the face with the.
Oh my goodness, dude! When we get to,
lightsaber, right?
when we get to Obi-Wan, oh man. But
Yeah, so-
yeah, well, it's just so he was kind of. I'd want to give him like a 7.
For power
I
level,
give him,
really?
I think if me and Nate, if you give him a 6, we give him a 6.5.
I think 6.5 is fine for his power level. Character arc. I think he went from having
God, it went
an
so good.
absolute garbage character to having a fantastic character.
Yeah.
Like a
Oh, yeah.
really standout character. So I'm gonna say like a 7 out of 10.
I was gonna say an 8, just because I really
Think eight?
like how even in the show, he has one thing. He wants to destroy Obi-Wan Kenobi
Right.
and just build his power to destroy that. And I think that alone, just like the entire character, is still so interesting, built upon one vengeance. I think that's interesting.
I think, and if you talk about his whole arc from being a Sith, from starting out as a Night Brother to becoming a Sith assassin, to becoming to being killed, being left alive, cyborg essentially, to leading what? Spoiler alert, Death Watch at some point.
Mhm.
And then he gets hold of a crime syndicate, the
Uh-huh.
Crimson Dawn.
Doesn't he also wield the dark saber at some point?
Yeah, when he gets Mandalore, he gets the dark saber.
Yeah, he kills Pre Vizsla. Spoiler.
I knew that.
I'll just flash spoilers.
We should preference it. Wait. This video contains spoilers.
All right, I'll
Put that at the beginning.
put that at the beginning.
Chad, I may write up like a little like spoiler
Yeah, do
alert
it
thing
better
for
than
you
that.
to read because I want you to read
Oh.
it. So I'm thinking A tier.
I'm thinking
I'll
A
say
tier.
A.
He's a high aim.
I think he's really great. I don't think he's enough to be an S.
No, he's not.
I
his
think
power level's
S
too
is
low. He's
yeah,
got a
power
low
level is too
level.
low. His narrative is extremely strong, but his power level is really low.
So you want to give him a 5 power level,
I think a 5 power level is fine.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
then like a 9 narrative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say a 9 narrative is very fair. I'd honestly say he
think-
maybe has a more rich narrative than Anakin Vader.
I see. I want
Mm,
so
I
we can either
disagree.
bump him up to a 10 or move that down to an 8.
I think. Well, I mean, because all Anakin was anger and angst. To be fair, he was
Yeah, he's
he
like,
was the
my
chosen.
mom died,
But it
so
was
I
a
killed all the Tusken Raiders,
Yeah, but
even
if
the
you
women and kids.
was it
But
a
it's
very
interesting in Clone Wars how he's so like passion, like the way they write his passion for like wanting to protect others is,
it's very
in my
good.
opinion, more interesting as a hero than just like the vengeance storyline of Maul.
Fair.
But
Fair.
Maul's vengeance storyline gets nutty.
It gets
does.
nutty, but like I don't know.
We'll sit him at A from right now, and then
I
we'll
also feel as
reevaluate.
though on Anakin's not behalf, putting him down actually. Him turning to the dark side it just felt weird. Like,
Well,
he wanted to save Padme at all costs. But then he goes from like confessing to Mace Windu like the Chancellor is on the Sith side to, cutting his arm off, getting beat out of a window. And he goes from that, like, what have I done? To come here, kids.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
well,
it
I
is
mean, I feel like at
a
that
little
point,
cheesy. I think is the
a little
issue.
rushed. But he had some other stuff happen to him to make him like lose faith in the Jedi Order, and I think what pushed him over the edge was like, this prominent Jedi Master Mace Windu is gonna just kill an unarmed person outright.
He just saw
Okay.
him kill 3 Jedi.
Yes,
You know what?
and
He's
to
on
be
easily
fair,
it's still against the Jedi code to kill an unarmed person.
but it's not after they've created like he slaughtered 3 Jedi. He's no longer an innocent. I think they are
He's not
actually
an
allowed to
innocent,
kill
but
innocent.
just-
You could say the same thing about when he tries to kill Count
Okay,
Dooku, and
exactly, and yet he was cool with that.
but he didn't. I mean, Palpatine kind of pulled some strings on that one.
I don't. No. That's definitely two-facedness on Anakin's side. He executes Dooku, but after seeing Palpatine slaughter 3 people, I don't think he's hesitant.
Anakin never saw him slaughter 3 people. He didn't
I don't
know what
think-
happened to those 3 people.
It's pretty easy to surmise, and I don't think
Also, like,
Anakin was necessarily upset about him killing an innocent so much as he was like, "This is my only person that can save Padme." I think that was more their driving character.
Here's the more
Also,
point of-
All right,
sorry.
go ahead.
No,
Can I just say this real quick? I've been watching the Clone Wars, and that episode where it's Obi-Wan and his girl, and the guy has a gun towards Obi-Wan and the girl, and he's like, "What's gonna happen? Are you gonna break the Jedi code and kill me, or are you gonna break your pacifist ways and shoot me?" And then Anakin just
And he was
through his
entirely
chest.
unarmed too. Oh no, he had a bomb.
He had a bomb. He had a bomb, but you know what Anakin could have done? Because right after he stabbed him, he did it.
Cut off his
He
hand.
could have just cut off his
arm
hand
off.
and grabbed the thing, but
Oh,
no, he
100%.
just shoved the lightsaber through his heart.
Yeah,
in that regards, yeah, I totally feel like Anakin is chill about like just letting.
yeah,
fucking
He's
kill
100%
someone.
chill with killing people.
yeah.
That is Anakin's big thing. Now, will I say that bumps him out of S tier and replaces with Maul? No, 100%
No,
not.
certainly not. No, I'm not thinking that Maul ever moves up to S tier. I really don't. I'm just saying in
I don't
terms
think
of
so either.
like comparison wise of story, I think Maul's story has a lot more. It may be a simpler arc, but it has a way more complexity to it.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that happens to him and where he goes to and what he does is way more complex than Anakin, who. I mean, I feel like a lot of his plot is that he's angsty and passionate and kills people. But we'll
He's
get.
also a good pilot.
Of course. But we'll get into that. I think we're spending a lot of time on Anakin, and I think it just also shows there's some complexity of his character as well.
Yeah,
But-
and I think that because we're spending so much time on Anakin, it's because we need to get like a benchmark to how we're gonna
And Anakin is a hard benchmark.
rate this.
And I think
He is the hardest.
we'll do a reevaluation at the end. And I think we should just crank out what we can right now. And
Yeah, we gotta
Maul's-
start just putting people on this board.
okay, so next one to talk about is our boy Savage Opress.
Savage Opress?
Yes, brother to Darth Maul, fellow Knight brother. Not technically a
Sith
real
at some point?
Sith. He was Force capable, right? And
he
wielded a
was.
red lightsaber, double-sided
Yep.
lightsaber. Wasn't he,
He was supposed
also
to be Dooku's. I mean, he was Dooku's next like Sith
apprentice,
assassin, basically.
essentially?
Yeah.
He was his next what's her name?
Asajj Ventress.
Asajj Ventress. Yeah.
He was the next Asajj.
He's
was kind of the whole point.
essentially a beefy Maul,
Yeah.
longer horns.
Here's the thing. I know where I would put Savage on the tier list already without even having to go through
I
stuff.
think his power level's lower. I think he's maybe like a 4. He's cool. He's awesome.
He's cool.
I'd say like D or E.
I'm gonna say D for now. Is where I'd put him.
I'll put him at E.
I'm gonna say E.
All right,
Besides, like just like redeeming Darth Maul.
You know
not
what?
redeeming, but like getting Darth Maul back. I don't even know like other stuff that he did.
You haven't gotten to that part in the Clone Wars. I haven't watched it very much. From what I've seen, it's kind of cool. But
since I've watched a lot of Savage, he does have some really, really top tier episodes when he's searching for Darth Maul and whatnot. And you see a bit more of his character in that. But other than just being a big brute, he doesn't really have a huge narrative. Other than that, he's just kind of like, I'm brothers with Darth Maul.
Yeah, that's his narrative. He's low power level. He's I mean, any Jedi is going to be or any Jedi or Sith is going to be powerful. Yeah. But compared to the other people on this list, I think he's low tier.
I mean, I think against the people on the list, he's low tier against, but other Jedi, he was able to clap a little bit, just from his brute nature.
And maybe if yeah, but on this list, I think he's an E.
I agree.
All right, so Asajj Ventress.
I think I'd know where I'd put
character design, pretty good. Night Sister, Sith Assassin, double-bladed lightsabers, or dual lightsabers,
that can
curved
actually
hilts,
connect at the hilt,
and can connect at the hilt. Yeah. I think her character design's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
I like her. I'm gonna say character design for me is probably around a 6 or a 7.
I put it at a 7. Yeah.
Chad.
I like her a lot.
Yeah, I'd say like a 7.
Okay, so 7 for character design. Narrative. She starts out with a very basic narrative. You know, she's a Sith assassin. Then she gets the whole Night Sister narrative, which is pretty good. She goes and fights with her Night Sisters. Post Clone Wars is when she gets really good. I
mean, she's even in some of the Clone Wars, she's cool with like her bounty hunter arcs.
Yes, her bounty hunter arcs are her best arcs. She grows out her hair. She
Wait, really?
Yeah, and she actually looks pretty dope. I
thought she was permanently bald.
No, she grows out her hair. She looks really dope. She ends up buying a lightsaber off the black market, so she starts wielding a yellow lightsaber, and is essentially a force-sensitive lightsaber-wielding bounty hunter. And ends up marrying Quinlan Vos.
Yeah,
who is the dude that was he the one that was a Tusken Raider, or was he the one? No, he was the one that had the Force premonitions, where he could like touch something and feel its past.
Yes, that was what he did.
So I feel like she got really buffed in her narrative post Night Sister arc.
I agree. I'd give her a C. I put her at C.
I'm okay with that.
I think she's pretty average. I think she's a high C is my thing.
So I don't think she could possibly bump up to B depending on who is in C with her.
Slightly above average.
Okay. So Dooku, Count Dooku.
I know exactly where I'd fucking put him.
Oh my god, you guys are doing that again.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
I'm sorry.
I'll try and avoid it. So Count Dooku. Character design wise, I think
lacking.
Overall aesthetic, not prominent. I mean, he's very much, the countly design. I think his design in Clone Wars is a lot better in terms of like the dope beard. I think where you really get a lot of value with him is in his fighting style and his lightsaber. Curved hilt.
I think what he says a lot too. I think his voice in general is very like powerful, like part of his character.
I think the curved lightsaber, he's the first one we see with the curved lightsaber. Very cool.
Pretty cool.
His lightsaber also has the extending blade, which was just a narrative point for why editing was stranger when it came to like the lightsaber sizes, but I think it's still pretty cool.
It's still pretty cool.
So I actually like, besides the curved hilt, I like the design of his lightsaber with like the little, it's almost a cross guard or something that's on the end of his lightsaber hilt. That's pretty dope. I think he gets like a 5 or a 6 in character design.
I'd give him a 6.
Yeah, I would argue to put it down lower.
You think it'd be like a 4?
I feel like his character design is just like your average almost like average
wealthy
old guy, like wealthy old guy.
Okay.
But
So then I think it's probably like around, because if you're lower than a 5, Alex is higher than a 5. I think we put it around a 5.
nice.
For character design. Narrative. I think his narrative is where he shines. There are a lot of things that you don't see about in the normal Clone Wars that are really cool about him that are in lore, and in Legends. At one point, he actually has a crate dragon as a pet. He's tamed a crate dragon, which is like this massive, monstrous lizard. I think he led the droid army very well, or organized it from the background.
I mean, he was the one really pulling all of the strings, while
Yes.
Palpatine was like the face of the operation. Dooku
So-
had to be the one to implement it.
Well, there was the thing. If you're thinking about all the nefarious things that happened during the Clone Wars, not just the series, but in the narrative of the battle itself, and the war, it was essentially him and Palpatine that were the ones that were organizing all.
Yeah, doing
Plagueis
everything.
and Sheev started the idea. Sheev ran with it and then took Dooku in, who started out as Yoda's apprentice,
Yeah,
which
that's
we haven't
crazy.
which we haven't pointed out. Also, the master of Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh yes.
So as far as that goes, I mean, he's like the granddad of some of the the granddad master of some of the greatest Jedi to exist, or some of the most engaging. I think his repartee with different characters is really good. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna give him narrative-wise. I think he's got actually a pretty rich narrative. I'm gonna say like an 8 on a narrative scale, an 8 or a 9.
And also, I said 7.5 to 8, so I agree.
Okay.
I give him an 8.
And then power level.
So here's my thing about Dooku and his power level. I think Dooku's got. I think he would beat Maul in power level.
He would. I think he would as well. He's a far better duelist, which means lightsaber to lightsaber combat. He is a master of Makashi, like the master of Makashi. So on one-on-one battles, it's very rare for him to lose. Only people he loses to are like other masters of other forms, of which specific forms would be like, I know he lost or wasn't able to hold up against Yoda's masterful fighting in Atreyu. But I think most other Jedi he could outmatch. He outmatched a younger Obi-Wan, and I think he could possibly still beat Obi-Wan in his prime. He beat young Anakin. Capable of Force Lightning, too. Which is not anything to sneeze at.
General Grievous, one of the best Jedi killers in Star Wars.
True, and Asajj Ventress, both people that you don't mess with.
Yeah.
And trained under Yoda. So I'd say power level of like 8 or a 9 as well.
Yeah, I'd say I'd give him like an 8.5.
I mean, he's pretty up there.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we want to put him? I think where he's the most lacking is in his character design, but I think both his narrative and his power level send him at a pretty high tier. I think he's on level with Maul, personally.
I think he'd be, so if we're gonna, if the closest to the S or the A is like our ranking, I'd put him right behind Maul, because I think Maul's got a more interesting, well, no, Dooku's got a good narrative and everything else that
So
isn't.
I think Maul gets a good narrative in terms of like actual visual, like stuff you get to watch in the series, but like the comics and writing about Dooku gives him a lot of good narrative.
Yeah. And Dooku was the first kind of Jedi that had the arc of the reason he turned evil is because he just didn't agree with the politics of the Republic. And he just wanted a better Republic than what was currently in place. He just didn't like corruption.
Okay, so we just knocked out some pretty big powerhouses in the Clone Wars. I think we're going to start picking up speed here.